Gianna, we're ready. We're just getting a little technical.
All right, Mr. Bose, you may proceed.
Julia, would you pull up Exhibit 2?
Exhibit 2, defendant's Exhibit 2 has not been admitted yet.
That's correct.
Excuse me, do you mean a PDF exhibit or a video exhibit?
Oh, no, the exhibit exists, not video.
Okay, give me just a second, please.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to move along, guys.
What's the problem, Julia?
It is in a different folder. I'm trying to get it to this computer. I'm gonna need a minute.
Okay. I can ask a couple of questions here. What is Aegis?
Aegis is a separate website I use for copyright claims. I connect with Google, with YouTube. That is that Freedom gave to me, or gave access for.
So how do things get entered into the Aegis system?
Could you rephrase that question?
Who puts the entries into the Aegis system?
I believe there are multiple.
Well, no. What person puts the data in there?
The
I
person
mean,
that has
it's
the
you, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is.
Objection, Your Honor. Your Honor,
I'm
I'm an objection to the leading. He's just tainted her testimony.
Well,
Basically stated what she needed to answer the question to.
Just stay and rephrase.
okay. Who puts the information into Aegis?
Like the Aegis account, you mean, like separate accounts?
Yeah.
I'm not understanding, Eugene. Like,
Well, then we'll just have to. When do you if you are posting a video on YouTube, does Aegis have any participation in that process?
I'm going to
well,
object to
yeah.
the form of the question. A proper predicate has not been laid that she knows the processes of Aegis.
Ms. Bone, only if you answer if you know the answer.
okay, what was the question? Sorry, everything's going on around me. I'm not.
Okay, so when you are posting a new video on YouTube, how do you use Aegis?
Okay, So when it comes to me uploading a video to YouTube, if it's a new video, I copy the URL to that and go into the claims page on Aegis and send it to Aegis for review to say that it's my video, and any other people using it, it will recognize my video and link it together, sort of thing. That's
Okay.
how I can explain it.
So are you saying that anytime you upload to YouTube, it goes through Aegis? Is that correct?
When you upload to YouTube, yes, it does go through Aegis. If the videos are already on Aegis, you have to like copy and paste the URL and leave it under review first, and then they verify it through Google and YouTube, I believe, before
Okay.
placing it in your Aegis account. That's how I'm understanding it.
So are all your videos on the Aegis website?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And we'll have some questions as soon as we get the document up.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Exhibit 2. And can you show us, let's just go to that first entry under it. It says, by the way, it says 551 total videos. Is that the number of videos that you have created and uploaded?
Yes, on all channels, yes.
Okay. So Julia, can you show the upper left-hand corner there? Okay. Where it says, okay, top, that's it. Bring it down a little. It says Holly Bone created.
Your Honor, I'm objective. He's going to start reciting from this exhibit, which has not been admitted into evidence,
Okay.
and it's not been authenticated. There's not been a proper predicate laid, no business record affidavit attached to it.
Well,
Saying,
is the information that's on that page all information that you have provided to Aegis?
Yes.
Okay. So they are, in fact, your business records. Is that correct?
Oh, objection, Your Honor. That's not the way it works. If she has business records, she could have easily filed a business record affidavit. She didn't do it. The document's not admissible.
She's now testifying that it is her business records.
No, sir, it doesn't work that way. She didn't create this document. I'd like to take her on voir dire. I'll ask her if she created these 551 pages and why she did not produce them in response to a discovery request, because I asked her to produce all documents regarding the ownership of all of these videos.
And we produced this in response to your request that you made right after the second TRO was issued, or back then.
You're
And
right,
we-
for authentication purposes only. It's still hearsay. She didn't create it. It should not be admissible.
Well,
he's not offered it yet, so at this point, the objection premature.
well, I'm going to offer it as these are her records. She entered all these records in.
At this point, you haven't laid a proper predicate, so the objection is sustained.
Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Would you, Julia, we bring up Exhibit 13?
13 has been admitted.
And Holly, what is this?
That is my JP reps for Roku and it's for Roku Playworks, the separate platform. We made an agreement with that.
And what was the subject of your agreement with JP Reps?
So they reached out to me by email because they were interested in putting my animations on their platform. And I was interested, so I reached out to them and said that I'm interested, and they organized a call. And they basically are like a separate YouTube platform where they have their own sort of like their own YouTubers, but like on their platform, like they have different videos, etc. So for this specific thing, I had my videos on their platform.
Okay, so they put your videos on their platform, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And if you go to the end, it's an electronic signature. It's your signature on this document. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Julia, would you bring up Exhibit 18? And what is Exhibit 18?
Exhibit 18 is the certificate for my private limited company of Wild MC Limited, which is connected to Wildcraft.
And does that corporation receive all the income from Wildcraft?
Yes, it did. Yes.
It did. And would you bring up Exhibit 19? And what is Exhibit 19?
That looks like my tax documents for the Wild MC Limited account.
So the taxes that are paid on the income from the Wildcraft channel are paid in this corporate return. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And will you bring up Exhibit 30? Do you remember this email exchange?
Yes, I believe I do.
And what do you remember about it?
All I specifically remember about this was that Google had received a subpoena about my YouTube channels, and I was just reaching out, telling them to leave me alone, whoever these people were, because I wasn't too sure what was going on here. But that's all I can remember specifically about this email.
And this was before you were married, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And did Brian tell you anything about this letter you'd gotten from Google?
No, he told me that there was something like in the past to do with this YouTube channel subpoena stuff with these people at the time, but he said it was something to do with like a closed thing, but I didn't go into it. I just said, oh, well, I don't want these people bothering me, so I need to protect my stuff. And so I just went on from there. I don't really remember much about it because I wasn't interested in any drama. So I just, yeah, that's the email there.
So, why did you get an email from Google about a subpoena on your on YouTube channel?
I don't know. This is why I had to just figure out and look into it and just tell people to leave me alone because I don't know what this was about.
But why did the notice go to you and not to somebody else?
Well, it went
Section to
me.
form a question that calls for a hearsay response and speculation.
Well, if you know why Google sent you that letter, notice.
Google only sends a subpoena to a channel that is linked to. So obviously it went to me because they're my channels. There's no
Okay.
other explanation.
Right. And okay, and that's did you come to learn who the person was you were communicating with?
Only when I was getting involved with this case.
Okay, and who was that Dan that you were writing to?
Dan White is most likely he's one of the lawyers for the plaintiffs in his 2016 case.
Okay, and let's take a look at that. Can you roll that exhibit up a little bit to the next page? Okay. You see, he's referring to you as Brian. Oh,
Yes, I do see that.
yeah. Do you have an understanding now why he was doing that, referring to you
No,
as Brian?
I was completely confused. I was like, why is he referring me to Brian? I'm not Brian. I'm a completely different person. Like I felt like I was being told that I don't exist, and that wasn't right. So it did upset me.
Okay, and will you bring up exhibit 39, please? And what is exhibit 39? Or how did 39 get in your hands?
Google emailed me that through my Wildcraft email, and I also received one in the post as well to do
Okay.
with the Wildcraft channel. The,
And it says that the income, the gross income, was you, doesn't it?
yes, it says that on there. Yes.
Okay.
What year is this? I can't tell.
2021.
2021. Okay.
Do you have any earlier forms from Google on income?
No, I don't. No.
Okay. So this is the first time you got this, something like this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you will bring up exhibit 25, please. And what is exhibit 25, Holly?
Exhibit 25, that is the Elite Alliance channel partnership agreement that was signed with my UK business for Wildcraft.
And why did you move from Freedom Family to Elite Alliance?
Freedom were having issues for a while. Shortly after I was locked out of my channels, I wasn't too sure what was going on, but George referred me to Elite Alliance and to sign up with them.
Okay. And they were performing the same function as Freedom Family had been performing for you with George?
Yes.
And if you'll pull up Exhibit 40. So when did you receive this?
I believe this was very shortly after the TRO hearing. Google cut off my Elite Alliance and contacted them to get me cut off of Wildcraft. So that was quite recent.
Okay. So you no longer have any relationship with Elite Alliance, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, and no income.
Let's pull up Exhibit 24. And what is Exhibit 24?
That is the trademark for my Wildcraft channel and connected to the owner of the Wild MC Limited. So that's to do with my trademark.
And so why did you get that?
Well, I wanted to be official. I wanted my own trademark. So I just went ahead and got one.
So you're taking the business seriously as a business, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
You redirect.
Yes, Your Honor.
And just to kind of hopefully short circuit this a little bit, is there any evidence, written evidence, that I may have missed it, that Holly Bone owned the Futuristic Hub prior to 2019 when the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals decision came down? I haven't seen any, but is there any?
We contend, Your Honor, that there is no evidence on that issue, no written evidence on that issue.
Okay. Mr. DeBose, is there any?
No.
Okay. All right. Mr. Capua.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead and do what you're going to do.
All right. Ms. Bone, I'm going to show you an order that was signed by the court on April the 5th. I'll show you page 2 of that order so you can see the court's signature. Signed by the Honorable Martin Hoffman. And going back to page number 1 of this order, it says, "It is therefore ordered that defendant Holly Bone Martin shall electronically transfer all funds in the Halifax, Revolut, and Barclays financial accounts and any other non-disclosed accounts into the registry of the court by 4:30 p.m. Dallas, Texas, USA, Central Daylight Savings Time on April 6, 2022. Do you see what I just read?
Yes, I do.
Are you going to comply with this court order?
I wouldn't be able to pay my bills if I complied with this court order, and I do not agree with it. I have already stated before this hearing that my attorney had to fight against this hearing, so I will not be complying with this at all.
All right. I'll now show you what's been marked, not marked, the second paragraph. It says, it is further ordered that defendant Bone provide the financial account statements for each account at each financial institution referenced in this order for the past 24 months to counsel for judgment creditors by no later than Thursday, April 7th, 2022. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Are you going to comply with this specific order of the court that I just read to you?
I don't think it's fair, so I'm not going to comply.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, before I question the witness on some other matters, I would move that the court hold this witness in contempt of court for her blatant disregard to this court's order that I just read to her.
Rose?
Your Honor, we haven't gotten to 4:30 yet, and I have filed a mandamus with an order to.
Mr. DeBose, could you speak up, please? I'm having a hard time again hearing you.
Okay, I have.
That's
filed
much better.
I have filed a mandamus, which is now pending before the Fifth Court of Appeals, also requesting an order staying the judge's order and staying the trial. It is under consideration now. I haven't heard back on it, but I do know it's under consideration. I sent you copies of these things a couple hours ago. And they have been filed and served and accepted in the Court of Appeals. So it seems to me that these that there should be no motions for contempt until the Court of Appeals has an opportunity to act. I've asked for an emergency order, and as I understand it, it's under consideration at this moment.
I mean, we have a procedural issue here, which is Ms. Bone is outside. I have no ability to put her into custody at this point. So I understand what's going on. Let's kind of move on and try to get this trial over with, and then we'll deal with the contempt issue. We'll see what the Court of Appeals does.
Your Honor, we have checked the Court of Appeals website, and we don't see a mandamus filed in this case with the appropriate cause number.
The cause number is 22-305. And you should have in your mailbox copies of the filed stamped documents, which were stamped a couple hours ago. And you were one of the parties who was served in that fashion. I also sent you an independent email at about the same time that I filed the document.
Okay.
Mr. DeVos, can you state the cause number for me again?
It's 22-305. I mean, there are a couple zeros. It's 22-00305.
Your Honor, I'll continue to ask questions if that's permissible.
You may.
Thank you. Ms. Bone, was Brian Martin your first and only love in your life?
Marriage-wise, or
Relationship?
well, I have had previous relationships, but they never lasted. If anything, they lasted a week because I was, well, anyway, if anything, they lasted a week, but I didn't take interest in that sort of thing.
Is it fair to say from age 12 to the present, he has been your only love in your life?
I would say that, yes.
So with that said, would you agree that you would do anything for Brian Martin, including lying to this court that you created all of the videos that you've testified to at this trial?
I would not consider myself a liar, and I wouldn't lie for him, especially in a situation like this. I'm just protecting my assets and my property.
Would you agree that you have aided and assisted Brian Martin in hiding the assets which belong to him? And I'm referring to the videos that are in the Futuristic Hub and Wildcraft channels.
No, I do not agree with you.
Would you agree that you have assisted Brian Martin to hide his assets in your name to keep creditors like my clients from obtaining these videos?
Once again, I don't agree with you.
In exhibit number 51, you stated in your declaration that rendering is a complicated process, correct?
Well, yes, it's one of the longest processes, yes.
But wouldn't you also agree that you're not doing any of the work in rendering? You're basically hitting a computer button and the computer is doing all of the work.
Yes.
On exhibit number 27, page number 1284, you were testifying about some information on the Google subscriber paper, and you would agree, based upon what the judge had said earlier, that it appears that that document was created around 2020, correct?
Well, I'm not too sure, but the dates on there did say some did say 2020, so it could be.
All right. Again,
All right, so
you have-
I'm going to take a quick break. Our new associate judge just stopped by and I wanted to say hello to her. So we'll take a quick break. I am going to want to talk to the attorneys about that order that was just signed. I do have a question about it. So we'll take a quick break. But we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, guys. Are you all ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Capio, do you have anything else?
Just a handful of questions, Your Honor. Pictures up there. Ms. Bone, you testified that you had an employer-employee relationship with Mr. Martin, correct?
Yes, I will say that's correct.
All right. How old were you when you had an employer-employee relationship with Mr. Barton?
I believe it's when I first started, so in 2012 through till present.
All right. So when you were about 12 years old, you're telling this court that a 27-year-old man worked for you and he did what you said.
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. DeBose?
No, Your Honor.
All right, call your next witness.
All right, Your Honor, I'm going to call Mr. Athanasios Posantis. And Your Honor, if you can give me about 15 seconds so I can get the folder, please.
Sure.
Thank you. Ready, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Posantis, can you hear me okay, sir?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Please state your name for the record.
Athanasios Posantis.
Where are you currently located?
Judge was witness sworn in.
Good point. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Posantis, one more time, where are you located currently?
Toronto, Canada.
And could you please tell us your employment background?
Yes, currently I'm contracted with Maxon GmbH as a freelance contributor to Maxon's training team. Maxon is the company that develops and sells Cinema 4D worldwide. And amongst my other responsibilities, I do training videos, I do training for studios and companies. I create educational material for Maxon. I was the creator of the certification system for Maxon. I wrote the curriculum about it, the test. I am considered a master trainer, which is one of—
Describe for us, what's a master trainer?
Yes, it's a title, I would say, of the people that know Cinema 4D and teach it at the highest level as far as Maxon is concerned. And I have certified around 15 of the 20 worldwide master trainers.
Are you telling us that there are only 20 master trainers in the world?
Yes, currently. And there's going to be one more in a few weeks. I think I'm doing another certification.
All right, and you're one of those 20.
Yes, sir.
And you've trained 15 of the 20 to be master trainers.
I have certified them. I haven't trained them.
Okay. How long have you had a business relationship with Maxon?
A business relationship since I would say 2007, but my freelance work with them being contracted on a semi-permanent level started, if I recall, in 2014 or 2015, around that, and it has escalated since.
How long have you worked with Cinema 4D software?
Well, I first came in touch with the software in the late 90s, and I've been using it, I would say, regularly for my work since the early 2000s or something, mid 2000s. Yeah.
All right. Do you also do testing for Maxon's products?
Yes, I'm an alpha and beta tester. I'm part of a small group of, I would say, a number of people. I can't disclose the exact numbers, but it's a small group of people where we help Maxon test the software, provide ideas. And I've been in this relationship with Maxon since, that was maybe 2006, 2008, 2006, something like that.
How many versions of the Cinema 4D software are there?
Well, every year there's a major update. In 2012, there was a version called Release 14 that came out in 4 or 5 different flavors, depending on the features. That methodology, so back then there were 5 versions, 5 different, let's say, feature level versions. This was scrapped just before release 20, I think. And since then, it's one major upgrade every year. And since a couple of years ago, they have an intermediate update for the subscribers, for the people that subscribe to the software and haven't got what's called a permanent license.
Have you worked with all of these updates since at least 2012 to the present?
Oh, yes.
All right. In fact, how long have you been working with Cinema 4D updates? When did that first begin?
Well, since I came in touch with the software in the late 90s, I have touched upon, I think back then it was something like version 5 or something like that, or even before that. But I've been in touch with every single version of Cinema 4D.
Your Honor, at this time, I would request that Mr. Athanasios Plazantis be considered an expert to provide expert testimony related to Cinema 4D software and also testify regarding his opinions after reviewing the videos which were allegedly created by Ms. Bone, which are on the Futuristic Cub channel and Wildcraft channel, as to whether or not, based upon her videotape deposition as well as her testimony at trial, if she in fact is the animator of these complete videos.
May I have him on voir dire?
Sure. Only on the issue of qualifications, though, Mr. DuBose.
Well, the qualifications, what I'm going to ask him is, has he ever given an opinion based on his knowledge that somebody was not producing videos that the person who's claiming they created them on his software? Has he ever given an opinion like that? In his deposition, he answered that he had not.
I have not. It doesn't come up very often.
Okay. So I don't think he's got any experience in this matter.
I guess I'm just going to have to see what his testimony is and to lay a foundation of how he'd be able to reach this. So at this point, I'm going to allow him to testify, but you can raise objections as it goes along.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I wanted to ask the court's direction on this issue. Mr. Plazantis was going to provide an approximate 5 to 10 minute overview of Cinema 4D and various aspects of animation and some vocabulary to help to assist the court in understanding his testimony. Would you like for him to do that, or would you like for me to waive that part? I was just doing it for the courts.
I feel after the whole thing with Miss Bone, I feel like I have a decent understanding, but so why doesn't he just give his testimony? If I have questions, I'll ask him.
All right, Your Honor. Okay. No, Mr. Posantis, I'm going to refer to you during my examination of you as Mr. Thanasis, okay?
Yes, indeed.
All right.
How do you spell that, since it's not on the screen?
Thanissis. Okay, Mr. Thanasis. Can I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Thanasis, I'm going to refer you to various clips of Ms. Bone's deposition, which was taken on March the 8th, 2022. And so I would request that you play the clip as it relates to the question and the answer, and then I'm going to ask you a question regarding her answer, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, and the first clip is going to be at the 52-minute mark. If you could play it, please.
And would you agree that you are extremely familiar with the functionality of Cinema 4D software, since you've made about 200 videos with it and you've been using it for about 10 years?
Yes, I would say that, yes.
Mr. Thanasis, did you have an opportunity to review the videos on exhibit number 3, which contained approximately 80 videos which were on the Futuristic Hub channel?
Yes, I did. I did review them.
Did you also review the approximate 40 videos which were contained on the Wildcraft channel, which were part of exhibit number 4?
Yes.
How many videos? 40 videos, you said?
Yes, Your Honor, on exhibit number 4.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, with that,
Oh, yeah, I reviewed all 120 videos.
all right. Mr. Thanasis, if you could speak up a little bit so we can hear you loud and clear, okay?
Yes, sir.
Much better. Thank you, sir. Do you agree, based upon your review of these 120 videos, and we're going to go into more detail in a minute regarding your testimony, but generally speaking, do you agree with Ms. Bone's statement that she is extremely familiar with the functionality of Cinema 4D software?
No, I disagree. If I may add a comment, Ms.
Please.
Bone is extremely smart. She is a very fast learner. She's extremely passionate and loves what she does. But unfortunately, she did not create the entirety of these videos without the addition of significant help from other parties.
And you're aware of Ms. And you're aware
May
of
I
Ms.
have him on board, Your Honor?
Not at this point. You can
Okay.
and
ask
Mr.
that question across.
Mr. Thanasis, you're aware of Ms. Bone's testimony that she created all of the videos on exhibit number 3 and exhibit number 4 in their entirety from A to Z, except for some voiceover, correct?
I am aware of it.
All right. All right, so I'm going to ask you, Ms. Bone had testified that she wasn't very familiar with the updates related to Cinema 4D software, and she thought that the updates were free and that she was not involved in the updating process regarding the updates on an annual basis. Do you have an opinion as it relates to whether or not Ms. Bone should have that knowledge regarding the annual updates, considering she has used Cinema 4D software for 10 years?
Object to the question.
Overruled.
So the initial version Ms. Bone claimed she bought in 2012 must have been release 13 or release 14, depending on the time of year. And that had a cost of over, I think, around $3,500. at the time. In order to update every year, there was a cost associated with this, around $800 a year. And there were quite a few interface changes and feature additions every year. So I do know from Ms. Bone's video that she's using release 20. That was released, sold in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And since from 2012 until 2018, these are at least 6 major updates. For each update, you need to receive a new license number from Maxon Computer via email, and you have to put it in your computer. It asks you about that. So I find it very hard to believe that all this process and the money involved didn't come to Ms. Bone's attention.
Ms. Bone also testified in her deposition that she did not recall the name of the manufacturer of Cinema 4D software. Do you believe it's possible for Ms. Bone not to know even the name of the manufacturer of the Cinema 4D software since she has been using it for 10 years?
Well, although it exists on the interface, it's in front of you. I have a screen. I can just pull it up right now. Am I allowed to do that?
Yes.
There it is, Maxon. And if you go to various menus, you see Maxon. And if you want to purchase the software, you have to go to the Maxon website. And when you receive emails from Maxon for updates and stuff, it says Maxon. So as a matter of fact, in my experience, which is my personal experience, people tend to know Maxon more than Cinema 4D sometimes.
All right. I'm going to refer you now to, I'm going to refer to these deposition clips by numbers. Number 5, which starts at 2328. If you could play it, please.
Do you use any third-party plugins for your Cinema 4D?
Could you give me some more detail on that question?
Okay, do you know what third-party plugins means?
Not really, no.
All right. Is Turbulence 4D a plugin?
Turbulence 4D, I'm still
Yes.
getting a bit confused.
All right. Is X Particles a plugin?
I'm not too sure what I mean, if you mean it's to do with like rigs and models, I know that sort of thing, but I'm not too sure what you mean by plugin.
All right. If I said third-party tool, would that make a difference to you?
Not really, no.
Mr. Thanasis, what is your opinion on Ms. Bone not knowing what a third-party plugin is regarding Cinema 4D?
Especially the use of Turbulence FD, which was used in a few videos. And today in her video, she claimed that she knows what it is, and she didn't remember. I find it very hard to believe, to put it mildly, that on March the 8th, this was the reply. And on March the 30th, we were getting an actually very good demonstration of that particular tool. And it's one of the reasons I say that Ms. Bone is very smart and a very fast learner, because you reminded her of the name.
So are you telling us in 22 days?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry. My question is, in 22 days, according to what you just said, Ms. Bone went from not knowing what a third-party plugin is to be able to provide an example of a third-party plugin. Is that what you're telling the court?
Yes, and it's not surprising. Cinema 4D is considered the easiest 3D software in the industry. And a person with Ms. Bone's intellect and ability to learn, she could actually do that not in 3 weeks. She could do it in a few days, if you ask me.
Is Turbulence FD a third-party plugin?
Yes, it is a commercial third-party plugin.
And explain to the court what that means.
So software is designed to do certain things. And sometimes there are certain functions that the program is not made to do. Just like you have a car and you want to buy upgrades to the car, a better stereo, bigger wheels, those would be considered third-party add-ons and extensions. So we have tools that do flames and fire and all that. And the predominant one in the industry is called Turbulence FD. And again, it's a commercial software and it costs money. And there's another one called X Particles, which one of the effects with the lava flowing may have been done with that or another third-party plugin, but it's not possible to do that inside Cinema 4D without these tools.
All right, now I want to refer you to clip 6 at the 24-minute mark. If you could play it, please.
Did you use any other software besides Cinema 4D to create your animated videos?
No, not on the Curious Cub channel.
Mr. Thanasis, is it possible to create the video that Ms. Bone claims that she created without using any other software besides Cinema 4D when she uploaded those videos onto YouTube?
Yes, you don't need my testimony for that. Today, she testified that she uses editing software to do additional effects like overlays and stuff like that. And I agree with that statement.
All right, Mr. Thanasis, I now refer you to deposition clip number 8 at the 40-minute mark. If you could play it, please.
Ms. Bone, my question is, how did you create the flashlight light beam?
You basically just add a light bulb at the end of the item and it comes out however you choose to want it. It's not easy to explain, but yeah, that is a light bulb effect. There are lighting effects that you can use.
Is there a specific setting on the light to create this effect?
Yeah, there are multiple different ways you could do it. Adding a light bulb and then adjusting how you want it to shine, if you want to shine it in one direction or in another direction. In this case, the flashlight is shining wherever the flashlight is being pointed at.
Do you recall the name of the setting on the light for this particular effect?
No, I literally just play around with it. That's just how I do it.
Mr. Thanasis, do you believe that Ms. Bone is aware of light visibility and volumetric lights based upon her answer to my questions?
At that moment, when she was being testifying, the answer is no.
Can you explain to us what visible light and volumetric light are?
Ms. Bone explained it quite eloquently today. But you turn on a specific parameter to make the light be visible when you render, rather than emitting light and making other objects visible. And there are two different ways to do that. There is the visible, which doesn't get obscured by objects. And then there is the volumetric, which has been used extensively in pretty much every single video I've seen, not every single one, but the majority of videos. And that creates the equivalent of what is called, I quote, God rays, which creates streaks from shadows as well.
Was Ms. Bone's explanation of volumetric light today much different than what she stated at her deposition on March the 8th?
Yes, very much so. Today, she explained not volumetric lights, but visible lights, and she did it very well. But back in her deposition, she just probably didn't have any idea of the particular setting we're talking about.
Okay, clip number 9, if you could play it at the 42-minute mark.
Is the girl with the red dress a 3D model?
I believe that's an import, a PNG import. I can't remember, but it was either one of those, yeah. Because she looks like a piece of paper from the game of all these basics.
Can you describe the method you used to make her?
Well, usually PNG imports, you just find like an image and you import it.
Mr. Thanasis, if Ms. Bone had actually created this particular animation, should she have known, in your opinion, whether or not this was a PNG import?
Yes, the way I see it is she was just responding to what she was seeing, because there's a specific process to make that PNG appear. And you have to put it on actually a 3D model that is flat. And you have to activate the alpha channel as well. So this is one of the examples of a multi-step process, which is very simple, very simple.
Can you do a quick demonstration for us regarding this?
Yes, I can. And I have a name. Here it is. So this is the model. And in order to create it, you need to create a flat object, which is called the plane. You need to orient it, whatever you want. You need to create a material. And in that material, you bring in your imported graphic, which it's already loaded in here. You just drag it from your browser. But then you have to go to the alpha channel and reapply it to create the transparency, providing that file has transparency. And then you take this and you drop it here. And if you want to invert it, you just change this. But this is one of the things I evaluated while going through her replies, that which is a contrast to what we saw today. Today we saw Ms. Bones' ability to explain very complex things quite nicely when she knows about them. And in this particular case, the simple fact that you need an object, a material, and an extra parameter would have been known to her. And I don't find that the explanation she gave was even close.
All right, we're going to go to deposition clip number 10 at the 44-minute mark. Please play it.
Ms. Bone, how did you make the female jump rope in this particular scene?
In Cinema 4D, there's an option to add things like lines, I believe. So I added a bent line to put in front of Steve for the jump rope.
Mr. Thanasis, do you agree with Ms. Bones' answer on adding a bent line to make the jump rope?
No, unfortunately, this is one of the first things we teach people in Cinema 4D, that when you create any kind of line, it does not render. This is black. In order to make it render, there are a couple of ways to do that, but the one that was used in that particular scene is that you need to create an object, a generator, and you need to take another object, which is the profile, and you need to create something that is akin to a toothpaste coming out, where the nozzle shape is the first object and the sweeping action is the second object. This now is renderable, and you can apply materials and other effects. But if you don't know how to do this kind of modeling, you would assume that you can create a spline or an arc in this particular case and have that render. So in this particular case, this would have been the original object. And then the structure of that generator and the extra circle is the only way you can make this. Someone would argue that you can create a hair material and you can apply it to get this to render. But watching her video very closely, there's a particular artifact, a particular thing that happens at the edges that show me that it wasn't hair. Hair has the tendency to round everything. So if I take and increase the thickness and make this equivalent, you see this rounding here. You will see this rounding, and that rounding is not prominent. That shows me that the particular jump rope was not made using the hair. So her explanation is wrong. Had it been made by hair, I would have accepted that as a valid explanation. But this shows me once again that she's very capable, very smart, but that particular thing, she hadn't done it.
All right, let's go to deposition clip 11 at the 45-minute mark.
How did you create that green portal effect?
It's the same thing with the textures. I added a water type texture, which is a movement thing. And I changed the color to green and I applied it to the portal section, which makes it appear that way.
Mr. Thanasis, is there a watertight texture within Cinema 4D effect?
No, there is not. And today in Ms. Bones' demonstration, we saw her opening something that was called a watertight. And that was just, I can take any material I have here, I can give it any name, and I can save it. I can save the material. I can create a material that's called banana split and save it. And then I open it up and say, I have a banana split material. But you can't claim that you are using the banana split effect to do this. I will be honest with you, though. The way she said it, I will just say that this particular thing, she may have had an idea about.
All right, let's go to deposition to clip number 12 at the 46-minute mark. Please play it.
How did you make these letters?
There's a option to make anything in Cinema 4D, including words. You just add the text and you can place it wherever you'd like to place it.
Mr. Thanasis, if you want to make a text, what do?
A text is a spline, and we need to do exactly what we did with the jump rope. A spline by itself will not render. You need to make it into an object. So you need something like an extrude, which is what Ms. Bone used in this particular case.
Did you agree with Ms. Bone's answer on this issue?
I would not.
Go to clip 14 at the 49-minute mark, please.
I think they're fighting underwater. But why does it appear that they're not under the water? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying, but I couldn't say. It doesn't appear that way. It never appeared that way, unfortunately. Just happens sometimes, I guess. I don't know how to answer that question. Sometimes when you render something, it doesn't always appear that you're underwater. And I think this is on some of my videos when it comes to water. I've always had the same effect.
Mr. Thanasis, what's the issue with the water related to her answer?
The person that did this did not add a medium, for example, a fog, an object with a fog material on it, or environment fog. They can work in a similar fashion, or even a visible light. Sometimes we use visible lights, although it adds light instead of subtracting. And we've seen this effect in quite a few videos, which means that the person that did the effect was very well aware on how to do it.
Is this a complex animation effect?
Oh, not at all. You just add your cube and make a material here. And the material, all the material needs to have is a medium, a fog medium. You just turn it on. And let's...
Did you review some later videos where some underwater scenes have fog assigned to it?
Yes, I do remember it was about Piggy, and it was used, and it has been used in other of the recent videos to create this sort of hazy effect. And I think it's one of the questions she got wrong from the others, but we'll see that when the time comes.
All right, go to deposition clip 15 at the 49-minute mark.
Yes, sir.
How did you create the energy beam effect that we're seeing? Did you use any special tools?
This is a very hard technical question. I can't really explain because it's really difficult to explain, but I used a lot of glowing effects and movements and effects in it. It's really hard to explain. I can't really explain it, but it's to do with a lot of effects.
Do you believe that this was a third-party tool, not part of Cinema 4D, or was this within Cinema 4D?
I believe this was within Cinema 4D. You have loads of options to do things like this in Cinema 4D.
Mr. Thanasis, was this third-party tool within Cinema 4D as Ms. Bone has testified?
No, this is Turbulence FD.
And that's the third-party tool you discussed earlier?
Exactly. And the one Ms. Bone demonstrated to us today.
So in your opinion, if Ms. Bone had in fact created this effect, she would have known it was a third-party plugin and not part of Cinema 4D. Would that be true?
That would be true.
Go to clip 16, please, at the 50-minute mark.
How did you make the cubes look blurry while the character is sharp?
Well, with that, you can literally do blur effects with camera and stuff like that. Or yeah, blur effects. It's all to do with different selections on things. So I believe that was a camera blur effect. It's focused more on the portal and the outside, and I just select the bits that I don't want to be clear. I'm sorry, it's hard to explain.
Yes, well, what is the process called, or like the look of when you've got characters that are sharp and cubes that look blurry? You often see this in photography. Do you know what it's called?
I'm not too sure I understand. I'm sorry.
Mr. Thanasis, does this particular line of questioning have anything to do with selecting objects?
No, and that is Ms. Bone's mistake. She's aware that it's a camera effect, but she's not aware that you define it by defining distances from the camera and not specific objects. So she was aware, it's part of her, I would say, limited familiarity with the software, or the normal familiarity, but it's one of those points she's missed. So I would assume she didn't do this effect.
Deposition clip number 17 at the 53-minute mark, if you could play it.
The wrench that we see, did you model that wrench 3D model?
Oh, no, I get those on the internet. You can get different models and things and objects, and that's one of the ones that I got on the internet.
Okay, Mr. Thanasis, explain to us, please, about getting a 3D model on the internet compared to what models are contained within Cinema 4D's content browser, which we've heard a lot about today.
Yes, and funny enough, I didn't even see it. The oven itself, this appliance, is part of the content browser as well. So a number of objects that have been used throughout all 120 videos are part of Cinema 4D's built-in library, which is called the content browser. Today, Ms. Bone explained to us what it is and where it lies. And you can go and search and find all sorts of things. So you can type wrench. And at the time of her testimony, she was not aware of this. The person that did these videos, of course, because they used it quite frequently, and to the point where I have found, where are they? I had them here. Oh, let me just open the file if you don't mind. And we will see that inside here, just going to my browser, we have the AB content browser. There it is. So all the models you see here, all these models have been used in the video. So the safe, the fire extinguisher, the clock, the knife, the hammer, the wrench, a screw and a bolt, the screwdriver, the keys individually and together, the beer bottle, the front of the camera. You can take this off and use it. This bag that includes the logo as well, you can see it. Even the tree, and unfortunately, Ms. Bone got this reply wrong today. Thinking that this was from the internet. It's from the content browser. This monitor, the couch, the table, the TV, the balloon, here it is, the oven, the pot, and the vase. Part of some of these have not, we didn't ask the questions, but the person that did these videos was very well aware of the content browser, used it as it's supposed to be used, and including some materials as well.
Well, even though Ms. Bone claims that she's extremely familiar with Cinema 4D software, in your opinion, should she have known that the wrench was part of the content browser and she did not have to go obtain it from the internet?
Well, it's a double click away. And even if for one object, you can claim that it's a coincidence, when you see this collection of objects, that cannot happen. It's mathematically impossible that you will find these exact models on the internet. In fact, they are property of Maxon, and it will be illegal to find them on the internet.
Please play deposition clip 18. At the
Wait, guys, let's go ahead and break for now. We'll break until the morning. I do want to talk to the attorneys real quick about that order. So I'm going to want you to share screen the order, Mr. Capua.
I will, Your Honor.
But not